Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. So glad that you're here. This is the Days for Girls annual celebration event. We're so happy that we get to be together and to take this moment to look back at 2021 and celebrate all the accomplishments that have happened. We'll take just a few moments to let everyone come in and get settled. There's going to be a poll that's popping up on your screen, so take a moment and fill that poll out. Also, if you have a minute, you could put into the chat where you're from. We'd love to see where everybody's logging in from. We're really, really excited. This is going to be a great event, and we are just thrilled that we all get to be together, our global family. Ooh, it's cool to see the answers coming in. This is really great. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Oh, this is fun. Welcome, everybody. We'll just take another moment and then get started. All right, and then yeah, just a few things to note. This is being recorded and will be shared afterwards. Everyone's already muted, but if you have any questions throughout the event, feel free to put them into the chat box. We do have moderators who will be answering questions throughout the event. So feel free to add your questions there. All right, well, welcome. Woo, so fun to see everybody joining. All right, so it looks like we have, okay, Georgetown, South Carolina. Hi, Tara. Pennsylvania's here. Where else do we have everybody coming in from? Canada. Hi, Wilma. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hi, Carrie. Dominican Republic. Australia. So cool. Washington State looks like. Flagstaff, Arizona, Canada, Florida, San Jose, New Mexico, Virginia. So fun. Calgary, Canada, Queens, New York. Hi, Terry Lynn. Well, welcome everyone. Medford, Oregon. Very cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Tiffany Larson. I am the interim chief executive officer of Days for Girls, and I'm so excited to be with each of you today. And we're really excited to have this time, this once a year event where we're all joining together and we're celebrating the accomplishments from the year. So thank you for being here with us. My co-host for today is Diana Nampira. Diana Nampira is a dear friend of mine and colleague. She is based out of Uganda. She has been with Days for Girls for over 10 years as our Uganda country director, and was recently promoted to be our global manager of country programs and is working with all of our offices worldwide. So she and I are going to be moderating the event, and we're just really excited to be with you. You'll be hearing from her in just a second. So for our agenda today, we have lots to cover. We're really excited to talk about everything. So first, we're going to be taking a moment to acknowledge some special impact partners and just say a big thank you to everyone. Then we're going to get into the bulk of our time together, and we're going to be taking a trip around the world, Days for Girls style. And we're going to be, I think we're covering over 10 countries. So we're going to kind of zoom in and get to take a look at a lot of the different projects and stories of impact that have happened around the world. We're going to end with a raffle. So thanks to the very generous donation of one of our impact partners who we'll be talking about in just a second, we have a raffle at the end. And you do have to be present to win. So stick around to the end. And then also we have a very special announcement that we're going to be making at the end. You guys, everyone on this call is going to be the very first in the world to know. So we have a lot to cover, and I'm going to turn it over to Diana.
Thank you, Tiffany. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We want to take the time to thank our partners, our impact partners. We just revamped this program with the new offerings. So feel free to check onto our website at daysforgirls.org and /impact partner program. The partners we are thanking, we have doTERRA, Healing Pans, we have Starbucks, and these are basically partners these are partners who have given over 50,000 and above all time. And please, you can go out and check out more onto our website and really find out more about these partners. So in a special way, we want to thank doTERRA Healing Hands for always supporting us, Goldman Sachs, the Starbucks Foundation, This Is Elle, Flow and Be, Revlon, the IGG and AARP, and Rotary. Thank you so much. Like Tiffany shared, we are going to be giving, we have some giveaway. We have a raffle giveaway, and this is only when you stay around. So I'll request you to please stick around. This is one from a raffle that is being given us from one of our partners. This is a new perfume. It's the 7 Virtues. Louis Pierre perfumes for all of us who love to wear perfume and smell good. It's from our impact partner, 7 Virtues. So please stick around. And once you are selected, it was going to be a random selection. Once you're selected, you will be reached privately on your email that you used to register for this event.
Thanks, Diana.
So I'll turn it over to Tiffany.
Thank you. Huge thank you to all those impact partners. It's incredible their generosity. Days for Girls, something we say a lot at Days for Girls is the power of we, that it takes all of us joining hands around the world to make all of this happen. And so we just want to say a huge thank you to all of our Days for Girls supporters. And if you're on this call, then you're a Days for Girls supporter. So thank you for being here and for all that you're doing to support menstrual equity around the world and to say menstruation matters. And we're gonna take care of this. A very special thank you to all of the partner organizations that we have the privilege of working with. It just is incredible. Days for Girls social entrepreneurs. I believe we have over 150 social enterprises in 22 countries. So special thank you to them and all of their hard work and dedication. Our Days for Girls chapters, teams, clubs, and volunteers. To date with Days for Girls, the history of the organization, I believe we've had about 70,000 volunteers as a part of our network, and the passion and dedication of our volunteers is unmatched. I will say unmatched. All of our staff around the globe, our board of directors, and each of our boards from each of the countries that we're registered in, just huge thank you to everyone. This is the power of we. So, and you're going to see what we've all accomplished this year. So it's now my privilege to introduce to someone I think most everyone on this call knows, is Celeste Mergen. So Celeste is the founder of Days for Girls and has led the organization since its beginning in 2008. And with over 20 years of experience in the nonprofit and business management experience under Celeste's stewardship, Days for Girls has won the SEED Award for Gender Equity and Entrepreneurship, was named a Next 10 organization poised to change the world in the next decade by Huffington Post, is a 2-time Girl Effect champion, and last year was awarded Org of the Year by Public Interest Registry. Celeste has such inspiring leadership, and we're going to turn it over to her for a moment.
Hello, everyone. So beautiful to be with you. This is one of my favorite days of the year. Looking forward to all the stories, and we'll get to see the impact that all of you have made together. I don't know if you saw, but recently a really great announcement was made. I am getting the joy of continuing to be the founder of Days for Girls, supporting it with all my heart and making more awareness built up, but not being behind the desk every day. The signature of an organization that truly is self-sustaining and on the road to ongoing impact is when that can happen. I'm so grateful for the amazing leadership, for all of you, for all that is possible from the board to the people you're hearing from, and to all of you that are in this room or hearing in any way supportive Days for Girls. It's because of you that I can do this with such confidence, knowing that the impact we share will just continue and continue to be bigger and better. So excited about the rest of this meeting and the rest of history for Days for Girls. Congratulations, everyone, for all you've done, and a personal thank you for the tremendous impact you've made for girls, women, communities all over this world. It is such an incredible thing to serve with you. And Tiffany, you are a rock star. So grateful for you and this entire team.
Thank you, Celeste. Thank you. It's really wonderful for us to all be together. Thank you for all that you did. Starting Days for Girls, 2008. It's amazing what's been accomplished already. All right, well, we're going to go on to the next slide. Are you guys ready? We're going to take a trip around the world, Days for Girls style. I am so excited to share all of this with all of you. So we'll turn it over to Diana for a moment, and she's going to be introducing Layla.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany, and thank you, Celeste. Thank you for leading us and creating this big impact for us around the world. It's interesting seeing how many people and how far each one is around the world. So we are going to have Layla. Layla is our new Chief Programs Officer, and we're so excited to have her. She is she's the force behind the programming and the enterprise program and the entire programming of the organization. Welcome, Layla.
Thank you. Thanks, Diana. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you all. To start off with today, I'm going to give a high-level overview of what we've achieved in 2021, really focusing on some statistics. I won't speak for long because I want to hand it over to all my colleagues around the world who will then take those statistics and bring them to life for you, to tell the stories of each of those girls, women, and communities that these statistics represent. So just quickly to recap, what we do at Days for Girls is we focus on 4 different buckets of work. The first, as most of you know, are our washable menstrual products, increasing access to menstrual products around the world. We also focus on access to accurate and timely menstrual health education, policy and advocacy, as well as income generating opportunities through our entrepreneurship. And so all of our different amazing stakeholders throughout the world, including our program officers, our wonderful volunteer chapters, teams and clubs, our social enterprises, and our amazing partners engage in one or more of these activities to advance menstrual equity locally and globally. So in 2020, we rolled out what is called the Days for Girls Impact Zone. Some of you may be aware of it. I've spoken in lots of different webinars about it. And what this really did was recognize that Days for Girls was almost coming of age. We had so much activity all around the world and so many different partners and stakeholders that we needed an updated model that would guide everybody in all of their activities so that we were all working hand in hand and lifting each other up and working in harmony. And so what these impact zones did is that we placed each country throughout the world into one of 3 zones. So we have the red zone, the orange zone, and the blue zone. And then each zone has a set of guidelines of how anybody wanting to reach girls in countries in that zone, how they can actually do that in a coordinated way. So countries in the red zone, these are countries where we have program officers and a really strong social enterprise presence. The local leaders are really ready to step up. They're poised for growth and scale. The orange zone is where we have what we call a hybrid response, where we do have social enterprises. However, some of them are new, some of them are in training. Maybe we only have one in one particular country. And so this is where we have some volunteer efforts and kits coming into the country. as well as working directly with those enterprises to help them to grow. And then finally is the blue zone. And these are countries where we don't currently have any social enterprises. And this is where our amazing volunteers have really been directing their efforts to reach women and girls, many of which are in countries we had never reached before, or some that had relatively, in the grand scheme of Days for Girls, not received as many kits or programming before. So this was implemented in 2020, and I'm really, really pleased to share with you that we have had amazing success as a result with our reach and our programming. And I'm going to show you the statistics now. So I'm really, really pleased to share with you that in 2021, Days for Girls had our biggest year ever in the history of Days for Girls. We reached the most amount of people we ever have. So you can see here, this is a graphic that's showing us the reach since 2016. So as we know, Days for Girls started in 2008. And so there is statistics prior to that, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a snapshot. And so prior to 2021, our biggest year was 2019, before the pandemic began, where we reached 404 people with our menstrual health programming. Of course, 2020, everybody was hit hard by the pandemic, and I am so proud that we still reached over 300,000 people during that beginning of the pandemic. And in 2021, we came back even stronger, and we reached the most amount of people we ever have at 389,531 people. So thank you to every single person on this call, anybody listening to the recording, for all of your contributions to that. There are so many ways and skill sets that people bring to Days for Girls to make that number possible. And we are just so, so excited to be able to share that we've had our biggest year yet in 2021. So broken down, what does that look like? We're really pleased to share that as a result of the impact zones, 2021 was also the first year that offices and enterprises actually produced the larger percentage of the pie, so to speak, the overall number. And so enterprises and offices produced 53.9% of that total number, and our amazing chapters and teams produce 46.1%. But I would like to point out that it's not an us and them. So our volunteers, chapters, teams, clubs, various partners around the world contributed extensively to the left side of the pie, to our offices and enterprises, by engaging with them in different ways, by sponsoring kits, sourcing the kits from them and directing them to different partnerships and projects. And so this is an us achievement that we've been leaning into, supporting locally led solutions around the world. And as a result, we've reached more people than ever and empowered more local people than ever before. In addition to that, and as a result of the amazing support of the impact zones from all of you around the world, our offices and enterprises also had the biggest year they've ever had and the biggest year-by-year increase that they've ever had. So I know that one of the, one of the concerns about the impact zones coming into place was, will we reach less people as a result? And what we've shown is actually, no, the opposite will happen. We will reach more people, and that our offices and enterprises absolutely have the capacity to continue to grow and scale and meet the demand. So basically, the more that we work together with all of the different stakeholders around the world, the more people and communities we reach. So you can see here that in 2021, produced locally in red zone and orange zone countries were 209,772 kits. And that was a yearly increase of 62,932 products from the year before. So we're ready for an even bigger year next year. And I'm going to talk a little bit about chapters and teams in a moment as well, and their incredible contribution to sewing kits, as well as focusing on supporting local solutions as well in a moment. So I did want to just focus on a small case study. So just to really hone in on what does that mean in a particular country. So here are the statistics in Kenya, and this is just a really, really, really special graphic. So we can see in 2017, 2018, and 2019, we reached an amazing amount of women and girls in Kenya. So about 22,000, 24,000, or close to 25,000 and 23,000 people were reached in Kenya over those years. What we can also see from this data is that a really high percentage was coming from the chapter and team kits that were coming from outside the country. This is the blue columns here. And then a quite small percentage, between 4,000 to 5,000 each year on the orange columns, were being produced locally, despite the fact that we had 22 social enterprises in the country. So that's not to take away from the amazing reach that we had during those years. This was part of the history that needed to happen. We needed to do this to grow Days for Girls in Kenya, to build the capacity of the local community and local leaders there. And so then what it also shows us, though, is a bit of stagnation, reaching about the same amount of people each year. And if you've been with Days for Girls for a while or just joining us, you'll probably know that we are always striving for what's next, for reaching more people when we can, in sustainable ways. And so when we brought in the impact zones, it was really designed to help all of us pivot and try to increase that while in a sustainable way, while supporting local income generating opportunities. And as you can see, the data speaks for itself. So in 2020, when we brought in the impact zones, we reached 44,193 people in Kenya. So we almost doubled in just 1 year the amount of people we reached. And of those products, 41,131 were made locally here in this orange column. And 3,062 were made by chapters and teams who were honouring commitments that they had made from the previous year. And so many of those products in this orange column were supported by volunteers, chapters, teams, clubs, partners, government from Kenya, to all culminate in reaching double the amount of people in Kenya. And so then, as you can see from this graph, in 2021, we did it again. So we were able to reach 80,796 people in Kenya in a single year. And of those, of that total, 79,777 were locally produced, often being supported by a number of different stakeholders in addition to local sales. And 1,019 were made by chapters and teams and brought into the country, again, just honouring commitments that they had made prior to the pandemic. And so what this really shows us is when we work hand in hand with the incredible local entities, our social enterprises that are working in various countries, we're able to continue to double our impact. And so super proud. Thank you to everybody that's engaged in Kenya, but also around the world with our impact zones, because together we can continue to multiply who we're reaching around the world. So this does not mean that our volunteer chapters and teams slowed down. They absolutely didn't. And I'm really, really proud to announce that our volunteers, our chapters and teams, actually reached more people locally in their own communities during the pandemic than they had in the previous 11 years of Days for Girls history. So between 2008 to 2019, chapters and teams reached 21,494 people over that 11-year period in their own communities. And then in just those 2 years, in 2020 and 2021, they reached 25,091 people in their own communities. I get tingles from that. We've been saying periods don't pause for pandemics. They absolutely don't. And to have our chapters and teams so in such an inspiring way really take up the needs of those around them during the pandemic, not just those internationally, is just absolutely incredible. And then finally, I also wanted to share that in 2021, we reached together 88,000 436 refugees and internally displaced people. And my colleague Katie is going to speak a lot more about that and all the efforts that go on behind the scenes within our chapter and team program to reach a very large portion of this number. But I also just thought that was a really important thing to share. Often the menstrual health needs of refugees and internally displaced people are forgotten. And we are working incredibly hard to make sure that that is no longer the case. So thank you very much. So I'm going to now hand it over to all of my colleagues around the world, because at the end of the day, every single number that I've shown you, every single percentage or statistic represents a girl, it represents a woman, it represents a community, a story, an impact and a change. And so I'm going to hand it over to them to take you around the world to share with you some of those stories and that impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. I'm sure, like all of you, I was just sitting there going, yes, yes, this is amazing. These statistics are incredible. And thank you, everyone. I know that we've had quite a few more people come in. Thank you for being here. And I just have to give a shout out really quickly. I mean, we have people from France, Rwanda, Australia, Canada, the UK, Dominican Republic, Denmark, somewhere in the Middle East. I don't know where from, Colombia, just to name a couple. So thank you. It's so exciting that we're all getting to be together. So with that, we're going to pivot. Actually, I guess we're not pivoting. We're staying in Kenya, but we're going to introduce Bridget Kurgat, who is our Global Advocacy Manager based in Kenya. Because of the time difference, she wasn't able to be with us today. So she pre-recorded a video for us. So with that, we'll watch that video of Bridget.
My name is Bridget Kurgat, and I'm the Global Advocacy Manager at Days for Girls International. My career path radiates a commitment to gender equity through community engagements, advocacy, and application of gender intelligence in community projects. In many societies, Kenya not excluded, myths and taboos have influenced attitudes on menstrual health. As a result, an average of 1 out of 10 girls miss school during menstruation, and women too have not been able to participate in social, economic, and even political activities during menstruation. This is often as a result of lack of access to menstrual products and menstrual health information. Nonetheless, Days for Girls Kenya double its impact through strategic collaboration between donors, local leaders, relevant stakeholders in government, and our social enterprises. In particular, I would like to mention This Is L grant that enabled us to reach 3,000 girls in Kenya in 4 different counties. Highlights such as girls in Kwale protected from sex faux-pas, women in Kajiado being able to accept menstrual health education for the first time, given cultural barriers, and mobilization of over 1,000 men, boys, women, and girls in Mount Elgon region for menstrual health education and distribution of washable sanitary towels shows a commitment to breaking the bloody taboo. I would also like to highlight support given by Starbucks Foundation, who have facilitated establishment of 2 social enterprises dealing in washable sanitary towels and activities related to menstrual health in Mount Elgon region. Further, Tiba Foundation is working closely with Days for Girls Kenya to pilot a project to reach vulnerable girls and women through our Boda Boda project, dubbed Women on the Wheel. Lastly, Health Relief International Kenya, Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency, joined hands with Days for Girls Kenya to reach over 3,000 women and girls in Marsabit County through establishment of 2 social enterprises dealing with washable sanitary towels and support of menstrual health education and advocacy in the region. Overall, this impact would not have been successful without the goodwill of communities we have worked in. Thank you for always supporting Days for Girls Kenya and Days for Girls International. Together, we transform periods into pathways. My name is Bridget.
Thank you so much, Layla, for sharing with us, and the numbers are really, really interesting. And for Kenya, looking at the numbers and the partners that are giving, are enabling us to reach all those numbers in Kenya. Thank you so much, and that's really wonderful. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Kaidi. She's a Lebanon country representative, and we shall be listening from her.
Hey everyone, let's talk about Days for Girls Lebanon. In 2018, we had our office Lebanon and the 3 enterprises. After that, we had to work slow during the epidemic. In 2021, we got donation from Days for Girls Canada after the Beirut blast. And we did many distribution in the affected areas. Our second project for this year was the Wing Woman in Shatila camp with the Palestinian refugees by providing training for women in the sewing domain. Our third project was one of the biggest for this year, with many local and international organizations as partners. The project was about more than 10 festivals all over the country, followed by distributions. Our fourth project, and it was the most emotional, with Hilda ZOZ. We did many visits to the Syrian camps and Lebanese medical centers with Ms. Federica, and we had opportunity to brainstorm with the beneficiaries in their places and their voices heard. During this year, we got the attention from several local NGOs, and they started to contact us to be part of the greater good. One of them is AND, Akkar Networking Development. We had many sewing trainings with them. Last but not least, our latest project was with UNFPA and SOS. It was a great project.
Huge thank you to Kaidia for recording that video for us. Kaidia is amazing. And obviously, I mean, Lebanon has gone through a lot of struggles this last year, and she has just been undaunted. She finds a way and is so committed to ensuring that menstrual equity is in place in Lebanon. So thank you. I know she's not here, but thank you to Kaidia. We can go to the next slide. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to Katie Jones, who is our Associate Chapters Director and oversees our volunteer program. And so she's going to be sharing with you the amazing things that our volunteers have been able to do this year. So Katie, it's over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I am so excited to share. In putting this together, my first thought was that not even a global pandemic can slow down any of our chapters, teams, clubs, volunteers. Nothing can slow us down. And so I'm really excited to get to share some of the projects and that I really picture in my mind as the building blocks that went into Layla's beautiful chart. I love the charts and those numbers. And then let's talk about some of the building blocks that made those numbers where they are. So get ready for pictures and countries and just everything that went into that. You know, our worldwide battalion of SOAS and volunteers, they produced kits that reached women and girls in refugees camps, those that had been affected by natural disasters, and those that found themselves in tragic situations. Next slide, please. Our Days for Girls teams in Australia brought comfort and dignity to girls and women women in Burundi by sending 17,105 Days for Girls kits with World Vision as the distributing partner. Okay, next slide. Our Canadian chapters and teams sent 1,290 kits to South Sudan with the Women Relief Organization. They were the distributing partner there. Next slide, please. Pakistan menstruators were reached with 1,685 kits by our incredible UK chapters and teams, and Convoy of Hope distributed 3,600 Days for Girls kits to Afghan refugees in the USA. Next slide. Our USA chapters and teams sent 21,001 kit to girls located in refugee camps in Chad. Next slide. And this was done in partnership with Watoto Reed and the Jesuit Refugee Services, and they're going to be distributing those kits throughout all of 2022. After the August earthquake in Haiti in 2021, Days for Girls USA chapters and teams sent 8,000 kits with Convoy of Hope, and Days for Girls Canada chapters and teams sent 7,723 kits with World Vision Canada for that emergency response. An additional 284 kits were sent independently by chapters, teams, clubs, and volunteers with their own contact. And so that brings that grand total of kits that were sent to Haiti to 16,007 kits sent to help with that earthquake response. And I love that because you can see how all those building blocks came together and created individually to help individual women, girls, and menstruators, and then create that big number. Okay, next slide, please. In June, kits were sent to Jordan with Lifting Hands International, where they were distributed to refugees and Jordanians in need with the National Women's Healthcare Center and Jordan Medical Aid for Palestinians. They were so well received and they love them so much that these partners have requested more. And so our USA chapters and teams and clubs are sending an additional 16,000 kits. So we have these wonderful projects that we highlighted, but chapters and teams didn't stop there. So get ready for this list. In 2021, chapters, teams, clubs, and volunteers also reached Afghan refugees, individuals in Bolivia, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, Chile, Colombia, Cook Islands, Cuba, El Salvador, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Iraq, Jamaica, Jordan, Liberia, Mexico, Moldova, Mongolia, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Peru, the Philippines, Romania, Russia, South Sudan, Tonga, Ukraine, Vanuatu, Venezuela, Vietnam, and so many more. And each kit provided comfort, dignity, and reduce stigma and shame along the way. Whew, that just gives me chills. The power of we. That is definitely the power of we. Louise Colliner, she's our Days for Girls Canadian coordinator. I think she really summed up how many of our volunteers feel. She said, I love being part of an organization that has such a direct impact on the lives of so many. It is literally from my hands to yours. So, sorry, I love that. Working with the impact zones as the guide, chapter teams and clubs not only delivered kits and education, but partnered with, supported, and elevated so many local leaders, resulting in strengthening entire communities. Next slide, please. So on May 22nd, 2021, Mount Nyiragongo erupted in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As you can imagine, this eruption was devastating and families were separated, children were missing, clean water wasn't available, power wasn't available. Next slide, please. But globally, our chapters, teams, and clubs stepped up and supported this emergency response. They sponsored kits regionally made from Days for Girls social enterprises. This effort was then matched by Tier Fund for a total of 2,000 Days for Girls kits delivered during this emergency response. And comfort and dignity were immediately given with each kit during this heartbreaking time. Susan Thompson, the USA North Regional Representative, has been working with social entrepreneurs in Kenya. And she says, being able to support enterprises in Kenya these past 2 years has been powerful for our team. Even though we cannot send Days for Girls kits into Kenya, we can purchase kits and help create a sustainable living for enterprise employees and provide kits for girls that will keep them in school. This has definitely been a win-win for our team. Establishing a partnership with an enterprise has been a joy for me personally. The opportunity and dignity in education that a Days for Girls kits provide is magnified so much because our chapters, teams, and clubs make the kits with love, purpose, and skill. And despite not having met most of the people that they are supporting, our chapters, teams, clubs, and volunteers care so deeply about them. Only this kind of wholehearted work and commitment can reach so many with love, compassion, and devotion. Our volunteers are truly outstanding and work so hard to turn periods into pathways. I'm looking forward to working together with everyone in 2022 to uplift and reach more menstruators than ever. Thank you for all your work. Thank you for all your love. Thank you for all your support. And together, we're all doing amazing things.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you so much, our lovely volunteers. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are. We do a big, big impact. And speaking on supporting the enterprises, as a country director, as a former country director who has totally worked with enterprises directly, thank you. You really do a very big impact. You don't only support the girl child who is receiving the kit, but you are supporting the enterprise leader and the enterprise members who are actually making these kits. They are getting an income, they are supporting their families, they are able to send their children to school, they are able to put food to the table. So thank you so much, and please continue to support these enterprises so that they can really support their families and be able to come from one level to the other level. With that, I want to introduce Eunice Banda, our Days for Girls Malawi country representative. She's not able to be with us because of the time difference, but she did record a video. And in Malawi, we have really had some very, very interesting work. We have worked with the First Lady, thanks to Eunice, who really went out and looked for this connection. And the First Lady has been supportive, and we worked with her, gave out thousands of kits to girls in Malawi. And we are really looking forward to working with her again and more partners in Malawi this year. Thank you. We can watch the video.
Hi, my name is Eunice Chimpoyo Banda from Malawi, Africa. I've brought to you some very exciting advocacy news. The first thing that happened in the past year is that we developed a very important partnership with the First Lady of Malawi, Madam Monica Chakwera, through her foundation, Shaping Our Future Foundation. Together, we've gone to 7 districts where we conducted meetings with the district education committees that regulate programs that happen in the districts. And literally everywhere that we went, we were warmly welcomed and accepted. And as a result, we went into over 50 schools where we conducted MLE and AWH education, distributed Days for Girls kits, and conducted post-MLE. We also went there after 3 months to conduct post-test MLE. The results have been very exciting. The school dropout rate has dropped, and performance for the girls has improved, and their self-confidence has drastically improved. We did not stop there. We also conducted Men Who Know programs and community interface programs. And what was very exciting about this was that the 4,732 girls that we met impacted their peers, so that when we went for the post-test MLE, over 5,000 girls came impacted by their friends and excited about our product as well as our education. So you can see there's been peer-to-peer exchange. Through the community interface meetings, there's been a buy-in from the parents, from the community leaders, from the school committee leaders that have now formed bylaws that are actually respected by the government to stop any practices related to menstrual hygiene and child marriages and other harmful traditions and practices that have been hindering the girls' education. They've formed what they call Days for Girls cluster clubs, and the boys have become more respectful of the girls and supportive to their education. On top of that, we also had an advocacy activation meeting on the International Day of the Girl Child, where NGO leaders, government leaders, representative of the First Lady, and local leaders came to learn about the work that we are doing. The result has been having more support from each one of these cross-section of people. And we have been invited again and again to a lot of very popular and large audience media houses where we have had radio interviews and TV interviews. Everybody wants to learn about the Days for Girls program. Everybody wants to be part of this program. So with your support, we look forward to reaching even over 10,000 girls in this coming year, and even more than the 850 boys that we have reached with the Men Who Know program. Thank you very much.
Oh, a huge thank you to Eunice. I wish she could have been here with us, but you can get a sense of who she is and her dedication and her passion. It's
Greetings,
amazing.
everyone.
Let's just go into it. We're next like to introduce you to Chipo. She is an enterprise leader in Zimbabwe, and she's going to share some really exciting things. And one thing you're going to hear in here is when she speaks is about an exciting prison project, a project reaching women in the prison. So let's hear from Chipo.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Chipo Chikomo, and I'm from Days for Girls here in Harare, Zimbabwe. I am so excited to be able to share some of the highlights that we had for 2021. Number one, just remaining open in 2021 was worth celebrating. You can imagine we had constant lockdowns here in Zimbabwe. So just, continuing to keep our doors open is worth celebrating. We had, different variants of the COVID, from Omega to Omicron. So you can imagine having to survive throughout the whole transition period. One of our highlights for last year was receiving menstrual cups, Pixie menstrual cups. Most women and girls in Zimbabwe had never had or seen a menstrual cup. So let alone giving them to use it for free. Wow, that was amazing. We are just so thankful for that. We got to work with Dr. Terai Trent. For those people who know her, she's one of the most phenomenal women we have in the world. So being able to work with their organization and donating 650 washable kits to her school, it was a career highlight that is forever engraved in our hearts. We were just, it was just excitement to be able to reach her school. Women and girls who are in Zimbabwean prisons are often forgotten, and many people, because of the COVID pandemic, their families were not able to visit them. Through This Is L project, we got reminded that they too matter. They too deserve to menstruate with dignity. And we were given the mandate to donate 1,000 washable pads to them. But unfortunately, because of the constant lockdowns, we're not able to conduct our health education and give them individually, which is something that will be able to do now since the lockdown was lifted last week. So we are super excited to be able to give the women that find themselves in our prison system with a Days for Girls washable pad kit and also menstrual cups. You know, last year was just so phenomenal. Personally, I gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. We won the value creation challenge by Old Mutual, and we're able to buy materials, and right now we have got construction work happening. We had a capital injection of 6,000 and coaching and mentoring classes. So we are excited to be able to celebrate and share with you our career highlights, our enterprise highlights. You know, this is just so amazing work that you are doing to ensure that we reach women and girls in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chipo. The women in prisons really go through a very, very hard time to access menstrual. I've had a chance in Uganda to reach out to the women in prisons and the stories they share with you, especially during the pandemic when they're not allowing people to come in and visit them. Even when they're allowing people, some of them, they don't get visitors because they look at them as criminals in their society and chase them. So they really, really suffer to use on how to access the a menstrual kit or a menstrual product during this period. So thank you so much to our partners who are supporting the women in the prisons to get access to the menstrual care. At this point, I want to introduce Hayley. Hayley Millett is our Strategic Partnership Director, and you will love hearing from her. Very intelligent and bright and very lovely woman. Welcome, Hayley.
Oh, Hayley,
sorry,
you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. Yep.
Thank you so much, Diana. Today, I am so excited to introduce a resource to you. And Jessica, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So in addition to providing direct products and education through our enterprises and volunteers, Days for Girls also advocates to improve policies with governments around the world to better support menstruators. And as part of this effort, last fall, we released a resource that was praised by Menstrual Health Hub as the only menstrual health advocacy handbook that you'll ever need, the Days for Girls Advocacy Volunteer Handbook. So we truly believe that anyone can become a menstrual health champion in their home communities, but we also understand that policy and advocacy work can be intimidating to step into. So we created this resource to equip our volunteers and also other stakeholders to feel confident and knowledgeable engaging in menstrual health advocacy. So inside the handbook, you'll find a crash course on menstrual health 101. You'll get an orientation to our Days for Girls advocacy strategy and the important role that volunteers can play in advancing our outcomes. You'll find tools about how to map the menstrual health landscape in the place where you live. So learning what programs and policies are in place and where might there be gaps that I can contribute to. And then lastly, we'll walk you down 4 very practical action pathways to help you get started on your advocacy journey. And all of this is accompanied by tips, case studies of wins from fellow volunteers, and also mini activities to kind of help you along. You can go to the next slide. The 4 action pathways that we want to introduce through this handbook are number 1, education and raising awareness. So how do I stay up to date with all that's happening in the menstrual health field? How do I communicate this information to my community in a way that helps break down stigma? Number 2, needs assessments. This is how do I gather information from my peers so that I can help advocate for improved menstrual health environments. And this we have seen play a huge role on university campuses with our clubs. They have just done some amazing needs assessments and advocated to their administrations to create more supportive environments for students. Third, we'll teach you how to leverage product drives and fundraisers, not only to meet the needs of local women and girls in your community, but also raise awareness about policy issues. And then lastly, we'll show you tools and pathways for engaging in civic action that actually contribute to policy shifts for the long term in your community. So you can go to the next one. And to get started, go to daysforgirls.org/handbook, enter your email address, and then we will send you a link to an online version and a printer-friendly version. And I will just say that we have already seen some amazing volunteer advocacy wins using this handbook, and also that it is a work in progress. So we envision this handbook including information that is relevant to all the volunteer countries where we work. And that means that we need your help and your expertise. So I would invite you to download it, explore it, and if this kind of lights a fire under you, please reach out to us. We'd love to get connected. And I will send it back to Tiffany and Diana.
Thank you, Haley. This is amazing. And it looks like the link for the to get the advocacy handbook was just put into the chat. Thank you so much, Haley. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, it does look like we're going to go just a couple minutes over, but I think it's going to be well worth it. So stick around. We're going to be doing the raffle at the end and the special announcement, and we're just going to be a couple minutes over. But here we want to pivot to Nepal. And turning over to a video put together by our Nepal country director, Maya. And she's going to be talking about, if you have not been familiar with it, a practice called Chapati, and also is going to be highlighting the work that Days for Girls Nepal has been doing with men. And Eunice talked about it a little earlier in Malawi, but the important work that's happening to educate men on topics surrounding menstruation and to create advocates from men in the community to support women. So with that, we'll watch this from Maya.
Namaste. I'm Maya Khaitu from Days for Girls Nepal. So today I'm going to talk about what Days for Girls is working on in Nepal and how we are supporting women and girls regarding menstruation. So before that, I'd like to give a little bit background about the situation of women and girls in Nepal. So during the menstruation, mostly in the far western and mid-western part of Nepal, women and girls are sent out to the cowshed during the menstruation or small hot. So they have stigma and it's taboo to talk about menstruation, and menstruation is considered impure, unclean. So it's kind of like giving them punishment being a woman. And so that's why we have worked in Calicut from 2016 to 2020-21. Basically, we have done the AWS training and women's circle and kit distribution to the women. And now we are focusing on the Kailali district, where the women and girls has lots of issues regarding reproductive health and menstruation, as well as the Godavari municipality where we are working. They have a high rate of HIV positive because of lack of awareness about reproductive health. So we are also educating women and girls as well as boys about menstruation and reproductive health. In Kailali, we have a running project over there now, and we reach about 500 women and girls and 199 boys in the school. So far we reached that many, and we are still working on reaching more and more women and girls. Our target is to reach 1,000 women and girls. And so knowing the MHM issue and understanding the women's issue, if male understand all these things, it will help them to support their family members and their fellow students. So that's why we are doing this kind of activities. And so as we mentioned earlier, Women's Circle, where we discussed mostly about we don't tell them you're going to Chopati or doing following some tradition is not is bad or something. We are trying to make them understand why this tradition is started and why we need to stop practicing this kind of harmful traditions. So we ask them, and they will find out the solution. They will find out the answer. We won't tell them what to do, what need not to do. So they will find out themselves, and they will decide what they need to do, how they can stay safe, how their family members stay safe. So those kind of activities we are doing. And
thank you so much, Maya. Maya and the Nepal team are doing really a great job, and such habits have not ended. So we have to really continue supporting them. They're really advocating for men. And as we know, is that men are the head of our families. They really have to understand that menstruation is not a taboo, but rather on how to support us. And knowing that if we are to change any policies, you realize that most of the leaders on the decision-making table are men. The women are very few. So that's why we have a Men Who Know program to really encourage the men to understand. So please, let's go out as we talk with our fellow husbands, our fellow boys, our sons. I call myself a mother of boys. As we talk to our sons, let's advocate for them to really go out and advocate for MHM and women issues. With that, I want to introduce Nana Abeda Fadi. She's our Ghana program manager, and she's also going to share with us work that we are doing in West Africa. Just like we have had from Kenya, which is in the East Africa, we have had from Malawi. She's going to be sharing with us work that we are doing in West Africa. Please, she's not able to join us, but you can totally watch the video. Enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Nana. I'm a program manager with the Days for Girls office in West Africa. In 2021, we at the West Africa made great strides in reaching underserved girls in rural communities across West Africa. Coming from the pandemic in 2020, we acknowledged the difficulties that the economies were facing across the sub-region and took every kit distribution opportunity seriously, as we found it as a way to help and support girls in managing their menstrual hygiene in more sustainable ways. Today, I'm going to be highlighting a couple of the distribution activities that we undertook, and also talk about some of the enterprises in the West Africa area that are really blazing the trail in terms of reaching girls with sustainable ways of managing their menstrual cycle. In August 2021, we visited the Okulu School for the Deaf in Asherman. We were able to donate to them 140 kits as well as 150 nose masks. The donation was made possible by the kind sponsorship of Miriam Lancaster and her team. Most of the girls we were able to interact with hadn't yet had contact with washable pads, but had lots of questions. The education and distribution was such a great opportunity for them to ask the questions that they had always had in their minds relating to menstrual health and hygiene, as well as their sexual reproductive health. In August 2021, we were able to receive a kind donation from the Northern Virginia section of the National Council of Negro Women. The donation went to the Apatrapa Junior High School, located in Kumasi. The Apatrapa School is found in the locality where most families are low to medium income earners. Hence, the distribution was very important in helping them to be able to have sustainable menstrual health products that they wouldn't have to replace every so now and often. The team was made up of 15 members, as well as Amdia, who is the enterprise leader found in that area. The girls were excited as they hadn't yet had contact with washable pads before, and the distribution also went along with the commissioning of a borehole in the community. As part of the partnership activities that Days for Girls Ghana has been having, we were able to also distribute 416 kits with the Good Role Foundation in Ghana. The Good Role Company, as part of its CSR activities in the West African region, has a foundation which has partnered with us to be able to reach girls in peri-urban areas and slum communities in Accra. Thus, in 2021, we visited 4 schools located in Amasaman, Nima, Asherman, and Jamestown, and we were able to undertake distribution and menstrual health education in these areas. These areas are the areas that are prone to more teenage pregnancies and girls who are getting infected with diseases as a result of unhygienic handling of their menstrual health. So the donations were really critical in ensuring that these girls had access to the education and the products that they needed to be able to handle their menstrual health cycles cleanly and well. We would also like to highlight the very important milestones that our enterprises also achieved throughout the year. The Omantuk enterprise in Sierra Leone was able to distribute 15,370 kits to girls in and around Sierra Leone, as well as 11,195 kits being distributed by an enterprise found in Burkina Faso. The Tamale enterprise was also able to distribute 1,100 kits to girls in and around the Tamale metropolis. We in Days for Girls West Africa are grateful to you for your donations and sponsorships as they help us to be able to reach girls who are in need of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana. And thank you so much to all of you. Your donations are able to do such kind of work. You can see the enterprises are really doing well in Sierra Leone and in West Africa. Going forward, I want to introduce Martha. She's our Days for Girls program manager, program director for Pro-Infacare enterprise in Dominican Republic. You're going to watch a video from her, but just to give a bit is that we have a number of enterprises in Haiti, in Guatemala, in Dominican Republic, and they're doing really such great work. Currently, Martha, the enterprise is manufacturing is making 25,000 kits that are meant to be distributed together with Haiti, in Haiti with Convoy of Hope, who is one of our partners that has supported us. Please enjoy the video.
Desde Proinfancia tenemos el gran privilegio de compartir junto a Days for Girls Internacional esta conmemoración de 14 años ininterrumpido de trabajo en este gran programa, este programa que le llamamos Days for Girls Internacional. Este programa se implementa en el país desde el 2018. ¿Y qué implica este bien? Este bien implica educación, información y sobre todo la provisión de kits de gestión de la higiene menstrual. Estos kits son producidos por mano de obra local, mujeres y hombres laboriosas y comprometidas con este programa. Mujeres y hombres que producen kits basados en los estándares internacionales con calidad oro. Es para nosotros de verdad un gran placer contar en República Dominicana con estos kits calidad oro certificados por Days for Girls Internacional. ¿A quién va dirigido este programa? Este programa va dirigido a niños y niñas y mujeres menstruantes, pero no solo, va dirigido a toda la comunidad, va dirigido a toda la población, porque todos debemos saber de la correcta gestión de la higiene menstrual para protegernos, para educarnos, para saber el bien que nos hace, saber sobre la correcta gestión de la higiene menstrual y proteger un programa como este que beneficia tanto. ¿Cuáles son esos beneficios? Solo por mencionar, está el apoyar a las chicas para tener presencialidad en las escuelas, evitando así el ausentismo escolar. Está la protección del estigma y de la discriminación social por no tener un bien como este, y sobre todo está el enfoque de salud, porque sabemos que pueden usar otros medios no poco saludables para gestionar su salud menstrual. Así que estos kits son de verdad de gran ayuda para nuestra población. Este paquete de educación es provisto por embajadoras de Pro-Infancia, pero en este contexto ellas son embajadoras Days for Girls, chicas y mujeres empoderadas y chicas y mujeres comprometidas con este conocimiento y con la capacidad de transmitirlo y darlo a otras. No solo son usuarias del producto, sino que tienen la capacidad por los medios que provee Days for Girls Internacional para que sean capacitadas como multiplicadoras. Así que el producto y el programa de Days for Girls no solo provee de kits para la correcta gestión de la higiene menstrual, sino que también aporta capacitación e información a mujeres y hombres, a chicos y chicas sobre la correcta gestión de la higiene menstrual en el país. Así que con mucho beneplácito nos unimos a esta conmemoración, a esta celebración que nuestra, que de ustedes, de Day for Girls Internacional, de tener opciones inteligentes para chicas inteligentes.
A huge thank you to Martha and the Dominican Republic Enterprise. I know that I'd seen Carlos's on the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Incredible work being done. Okay, I know that we're over time. If you guys can hang on for 5 more minutes, we're going to be doing the special announcement and doing the raffle. And this 5 minutes was a last minute addition, and Jessica did an amazing job at grabbing this and putting it together literally in the last hour. But we wanted to share with you, we've been talking a lot about big numbers and big projects and amazing, I mean, first ladies and all these incredible things. And at the end of the day, this all comes back to one girl at a time. And so wanted to share with you a story of an individual girl. Her name is Christina in Malawi. And Milani, this is taken from a clip. Milani wasn't able to be with us here today to share this with you. This was taken from a clip during one of our all staff meetings recently. So I'd love to introduce you to Milani, introducing Christina.
You all hear the high level things like the numbers of girls we've reached and the big shot things like the meetings with first ladies and all of that stuff. So I wanted to introduce you to one girl in Malawi from this year. And but first, I just wanted to share with you that, like, what I wished I could do was transport you all to sit in the shade under a big baobab tree somewhere in a dusty field and just feel the energy as the girls absolutely explode when they first see their kits, and the energy that's just ruptures and then builds and builds and builds. So you'd have to have like surround sound on deep bass and like really plugged into the ground to feel the earth like reverberating. But just imagine it anyways. And if Rachel, we could just play that first clip, and I'll just, yes. What they're basically responding to is, as the ambassador is saying, what you have in your kit is 2 shields, and then you'll see. And then she says, and 8 cloths, but in you know, towels is translation for liners, and you know, and a transport bag to carry, a carry pouch to carry your sword, and underpants. And then everybody just like, I wish you could just experience the girls absolutely bursting into songs of thanks, you know, and I don't know Chichewa, but I now know those songs over and over, the girls just spontaneously bursting into song. So that's the reaction, and we see it over and over and over again, and it's just so heartwarming. And then almost every time we have girls just jumping up spontaneously afterwards in wanting to say thanks and making a public statement of their own experience. And this little girl that I've videotaped, she is Christine. I'm going to tell you the intro first, and then we'll just play her little story. She is Christina from Kasuya Secondary School in rural Lilongwe district. And she said, when I reached puberty and I started seeing my menstruation period, I was 16 years old. I didn't have enough materials to use to manage my menses. I would ask my friends to share pads to me, and most of the times they would not give me. But when it's difficult and I did not have any, I would use a plastic bag. And this is how I used the plastic bag. So if we could play this this little video clip. He's just showing us, like, this is a plastic bag.
Underwear into the plastic bag. On the underwear. And then I wear it. And this is the only way I could use, but this was not helpful because most of the times I would soil my clothes, I would have messes all over my clothes, and it never helped, but that's the only way I had to do it. Thank you.
And now, how do you feel about this?
Today I have received the DFG kits and I'm so excited as I feel like a woman that I can be able to use this and it's safe and beautiful. You are? Glad to have it. Thank you.
Thank you each, because everything you do is part of these many times over triumphs that are happening all over, not just in Malawi, but all over. And so thank you.
Thank you. Everything that we do at Days for Girls is about one individual girl at a time, and it's just really incredible. I'm sure you're all touched as I am. So with that, we have a very special announcement to share. We can go to the next slide. As of yesterday, Days for Girls International has now reached 2.5 million women and girls in 145 countries around the world. And just to put this in perspective, because it's hard to even conceptualize how many people 2.5 million is, that happens to be more than the number of people who live in the city of Paris, France. And then also, if you think about the Beijing Olympic Stadium, that 2.5 million girls would fill that stadium over 31 times. That's how many people. So very special thank you to every single person that has supported Days for Girls, sewn for Days for Girls, the collection points that are doing, collecting all the kits to go to the refugee projects, our boards, our donors, every single person is joining together to make this possible. Congratulations, everyone.
Yes, the interesting part is here. I bring the good news of the raffle. At the end of the day, we are all winners. Looking at the numbers that we have been able to reach, 2.5 million, that is huge. That is really huge. And that is only because of you, our partners, our volunteers, our wonderful team members. Thank you so much. For every single kit, you are a winner. For every single kit we're able to give a girl, we have won because we have defeated menstruation, a girl not having a sustainable solution, using a very dirty, we have won that. So I am here to share the good news of getting of the raffle. Tiffany will go ahead and read our winners, who are going to get our lovely fragrance of the lovely perfume from our partner.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, so these winners were selected at random. So I'm happy to share that. Amy Richardson, you have won. You are one of our winners. Also, Wendy Hansen. Congratulations, Wendy and Amy, and Kristen Van Fleet. Was there three? Is there three? Did I get them right? I'm just looking through, making sure I got them. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, everyone. All of our winners. And thank you to everyone that came and attended today. This will be sent out afterwards. so grateful that we can all join together to do this incredible work. Menstruation matters, and women having access to what they need and the education they need and the products that they need makes a difference in women's lives, community lives, nations. And we're here to change that. And thank you all for being here. Thank you.